Hey everybody, welcome to Witness Goodness. Graham here with another build. We are going to make a very simple, easy, quick, and cheap coat rack. Let's get after it. All right, here we go. All you need is a piece of wood to start. The cooler the wood, the better your coat hook's gonna look because, it's just gonna have a little more character. Cut it to length. It's completely up to you. So my piece here is 3 feet long, which should be ample for the little coat hook I'm planning on building. Second step after you find your piece of wood and a piece of wood you're happy with, you're gonna find some old bolts. I found some old bolts from a Habitat for Humanity store. Just make sure that it doesn't leave any residue or else all your hoodies and jackets are gonna get all messed up. And basically all I wanna do is I wanna measure how many bolts I want. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe? Let's remove those bolts. And let's measure this piece of wood. 30.5 inches is the length of wood that I am using. 30.5 inches divided by 7 equals, so 4 inches and a third, roughly. So now that we know our spacing, let's measure it up and find our hook holes. 4 1/4, 8 1/2, 12 3/4, 17, 21 1/4, 25 1/2. That should be roughly what we want. Now that we know the length of where all our holes are going, let's get the width to center them along the board. So my piece of wood is 6 1/2 inches wide. Let's find the middle, which will be 3 1/4. Okay, so this part's important. Basically, we're gonna use the threads and the thickness of this bolt to anchor itself into the wood. Obviously, if you know the thickness of your bolt, that helps. I think this is 3/8, but I'm not entirely sure. Find something that is just a little bit smaller than the bolt itself so the threads catch the wood and that will anchor it. All right, this looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a practice run on a scrap piece of wood to make sure that this will work. We will now test out the drill piece to bolt ratio and make sure that it'll be a nice fit. See if this will thread into the wood. I think we want it to be tight, but this seems a little bit too tight. Okay, so that's why you test. So let's get a bit of a bigger drill bit if possible. That's a much better fit. So I'll be able to thread this into the oak, no problem. It will get tight and you want it to be tight because this is going to be the only thing keeping your coats on the wood, so it does have to be sort of strong. So now we can drill all the holes in our actual piece that we're using. Now that we got all our holes, let's do a quick test run here. Make sure that they at least start to go in a little bit. So there you go. So they're all starting to thread, which is perfect. I don't want to do this quite yet because I got to finish off the wood. So just test it out, make sure they all fit, and now we finish up the wood. All right, so go ahead and get a sander. I'm using a palm sander. You can pretty much use any sander you want. We're just going to try and clean up the edges, make it a little bit softer, and make it look kind of cool. All right, so that looks pretty sweet. At this stage now, you could oil it, you could do whatever you want with it. I'm actually just gonna leave it for now. I might decide to put some oil on it later. Now, we are going to put all these bolts in. I'm gonna just hand twist them as much as I can to get them started, and then I'm gonna get a wrench and finish the job. You only need it to thread in just enough so it's nice and strong. I'd recommend 1/2 inch. Nice and strong. Okay, let's move on to the next one here. So I'm just using some pliers. The teeth are just grabbing the rounded edge of these specific bolts perfectly. There you have it. It is a very easy way an attractive way to make a very cool coat hook, coat rack, coat hooks, coat piece of wood, I don't know. The cooler the wood, the cooler it looks. And to finish it off, you're more than welcome to stain it, oil it, whatever you gotta do. When it comes to mounting it, that is entirely up to you. What I typically do is I will find my studs on a wall and either put one bolt or one screw right through it, so I'll pre-drill into the wood. If I can't find a stud on the opposite side, I'll use one of those plastic plugs, put that in the drywall and screw it in. Just because coat racks actually do typically hold a lot of weight, especially if you live somewhere colder. You're gonna be hanging up those heavy coats throughout the winter. But again, it's kind of up to you when it comes to mounting it, just in case you wreck something and it's not my fault. So as you can see, it is cool, awesome, great, good looking. I'll show you a couple quick shots of it. I'm not gonna hang it up yet, but make this as a Christmas gift, super easy and super cool. All right, see you later.